hard to believe that popular TV shows would ever risk falling foul of the censors. Okay, the likes of South Park and Hannibal are known for pushing the envelope, but how on earth did episodes from Pokemon get the chop? Welcome back to FilmShack. Today, we've prepared for you 10 banned episodes of popular shows. Number 10. Patterns of Force, Star Trek.
I want McCoy outfitted as a Gestapo doctor. Nazi Germany, old Earth date 1944. Make him a colonel.
What we love about Star Trek, in all its incarnations, is the way it combines futuristic sci-fi with everyday social commentary. It's a tough balancing act, which the original series nearly always got right, apart from this one occasion. The original Star Trek was ambitious in its attempt at social commentary, most famously highlighted by the interracial kiss from the episode Plato's Stepchildren. But even before Kirk and Uhura locked lips, Star Trek devoted an entire episode to an alien planet under Nazi-like rule, even going so far as to use Nazi uniforms and symbology. The alien race suffers the same fate as Germany when a charismatic leader, who is actually a brainwashed former Starfleet professor, almost manipulates the masses to his genocidal will until Kirk and Spock intervene and reinstate a peaceful government. Strangely, this did not go over well in Germany, who refused to air the episode until 1996. After all, it's one thing to use the reference of a tragic historical event, but it's quite another to imply that the man responsible for one of the greatest atrocities of all time may actually have been a scapegoat. Number 9. Earshot, Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
I hate school.
Never
My normal.
math. What am I too stupid?
Are you through with the mashed potatoes?
She doesn't even know I'm here.
There are some terrifying episodes of the hugely enjoyable teen vampire series, but it wasn't the supernatural that got Buffy in trouble. Instead, it was a storyline involving a high school shooting rampage, which had to be yanked from the networks before its release. After gaining the power to hear people's thoughts, Buffy thinks she overhears a student planning a mass murder. It turns out he was just planning to commit suicide, and while that's a pretty grim storyline for even a horror/comedy show, it probably would have made the air if it wasn't scheduled for the week after the Columbine High School massacre. They did, however, wait a tactful 5 months and aired the episode the following season, because that was probably enough time for the victims and anyone else traumatized by the real-life tragedy to handle seeing a character holding a rifle in the school's clock tower. Way to go, WB. Number 8. Dial M for Monkey, Dexter's Laboratory.
After countless exposures to bioatomic energy, all testing proves negative. No enhanced abilities, no physical mutations.
Cartoon Network was known for getting away with a lot of questionable content in the late 90s and ended up being responsible for a number of animated episodes that were banned after a single airing. One of the most notorious examples comes from the 1996 Dexter's Laboratory segment, Dial M for Monkey. It's widely rumored that Dial M for Monkey was banned throughout North and South America because of the characters Silver Spooner, who was a flamboyant gay stereotype, and Crunk, who gets drunk and throws up. Other stories say the segment was banned because of Barbacore, a parody of Marvel's Galactus, which reportedly upset the publisher. There's more credence to that second rumor, especially because the Tick animated series ran into similar problems with its 1995 episode Alone Together, which featured a Galactus parody named Omnipotus. It was never released on DVD for allegedly similar reasons. Number 7. Primetime episodes in China, SpongeBob SquarePants.
It's on!
While a commission dedicated to the protection of morality in Ukraine attempted to ban SpongeBob SquarePants for SpongeBob's questionable relationship with Patrick, China actually succeeded in booting the whole lovable yellow block from its primetime hours. Seeking to reinforce its own cultural values through domestic programming, the handling regime wanted as few eyeballs as possible on SpongeBob, which is kind of remarkable when you think about it. They could easily have banned the show altogether, but they probably knew the uproar would be so fierce they'd have another revolution on their hands. And if the mental image of millions of pink starfish protesting in the streets doesn't even bring a slight smile to your face, then you are dead inside, and you need to go hug a puppy until you feel feelings again. Number 6. Electric Soldier Porygon, Pokemon. This one has gone into TV folklore. There is a common misconception that all Japanese animations are responsible for flashing images warnings, appearing before most cartoons these days. But in reality, the culprit was the ever-popular Pokemon series. Only ever airing once in Japan, Pokemon's Electric Soldier Porygon is probably the best-known title on this list, since it actually caused a medical crisis, sending over 600 kids to the hospital after a scene that featured a flashing strobe-like effect with multicolored lights. Kids started having vision problems, headaches, and nausea, with some actually having to be treated for seizures. The incident got worldwide media attention, because it's not every day that a TV show shocks people into a physical health emergency. The only other time we can recall this happening is probably the series finale of The Sopranos. To this day, if a show cuts to black for more than 1 or 2 seconds, we begin to violently shake and yell, "There's no way that's it! You've got to be kidding me!" Number 5. Mr. Skinny Legs, Peppa Pig.
George is putting the spider to bed.
Night-night.
Peppa Pig is no stranger to controversy. She's been accused by deranged News Corp columnist Piers Ackerman of being a Marxist-Leninist and a feminist extremist. And there was also the subject of a false rumor accusing the show of causing autism in children. However, there's one example of poor Peppa being banned from television that's actually understandable. The episode Mr. Skinny Legs features the Piggy family on the show befriending a spider, with the implication that arachnids are our friends, and nothing to be afraid of. This is mostly harmless enough in the United Kingdom, but a potentially dangerous message to send to children in Australia, home to some of the most venomous spiders in the world. The Australian Broadcasting Company had restricted airing of the episode on its networks, but accidentally published it online due to a technical error, and viewers quickly complained. Rightly terrified of Australian toddlers trying to make friends with deadly funnel web or redback spiders, the ABC quickly removed the episode from its available online content. Number 4. Hee Haw Hee Haw, Fear Factor.
Ooh, 24 ounces of donkey semen.
Fear Factor was known not only for its crazy physical stunts, but also for the psychological challenges it threw at contestants, which sometimes meant they had to ingest the worst imaginable parts of animals or insects. It was one of these segments in particular that led to NBC not only pulling that episode, but canceling the entire series soon after, which had only been back on the air for less than a year. The episode featured 3 sets of twins who had to choose between drinking the only 2 liquids you can collect from a donkey. For the sake of your lunch, we'll leave the description at that. Aside from the general grossness of the whole concept, one of the options had a decidedly sexual connotation, which might have been the specific reason for not airing the episode. Or they may have just been thinking, well guys, if this is what we're down to, it's pretty clear that we're entirely out of ideas for the show. As of the writing, the show still isn't back, but we're sure somewhere a producer is digging through the dumpster behind a butcher shop just waiting for the right timing. Number 3. Home, The X-Files.
Hey, Sheriff, who lives in that house there?
The Peacocks built that farm during the Civil War. Still has no electricity.
When The X-Files was on form, it was great. Forget the conspiracy and aliens nonsense that consumed later episodes. Early on, it was genuinely disturbing TV, with a tremendous central relationship between Mulder and Scully. Another interestingly self-imposed ban happened to The X-Files with their episode, Home, which dealt with the controversial theme of incest, named for the small Pennsylvania town in which the episode takes place. Home also features gruesome violence, which led to it receiving the first ever TVMA rating for a network TV show. Audiences loved the episode, and the reviews were mostly favorable, but being slapped with a mature rating from censors was enough to scare the network from ever running Home again. It's now considered a cult classic, and some would argue the best episode in the history of the series, which has to be bittersweet for the showrunners, considering it has nothing to do with the overall paranormal conspiracy theory that The X-Files is ultimately about. Turns out people would rather watch inbred monsters murder people than discover the truth that's really out there. Number 2. 201, South Park.
Throughout this whole ordeal, we've all wanted to show things that we weren't allowed to show.
As previously mentioned, South Park is known for going to extremes. This particular installment was destined to get pulled, given that the creators Matt Stone and Trey Parker decided to lampoon current political and religious hot topics with a depiction of the Holy Prophet Muhammad. Not only banned in several European countries, but ultimately also in US repeats. The last episode of South Park's 14th season attempted to satirically address extremist outrage over the depiction of the Prophet Muhammad. As per what has come to be almost a formula for South Park, this of course included direct depiction of the Prophet, as well as incendiary dialogue from obvious foils, meant to provoke a shock response before ultimately being refuted with a moral lesson. Comedy Central wasn't willing to take the risk. The network was receiving death threats from Muslim extremist groups, so it heavily censored the dialogue with audio bleeps, as well as any image of Muhammad. They even censored Matt Stone and Trey Parker's director commentary on the DVD release, and went so far as to not even include the episode on DVDs that would be sold in certain parts of the world, specifically the Middle East. It was a particularly bad defeat for the guys known for pushing the envelope and usually getting their way. But on the bright side, they weren't murdered for blasphemy, so that's a plus. Number 1. Elephant Issues, Tiny Toon Adventures.
Bottoms up. Ugh, now you.
Of the 3 segments in the Tiny Toon Adventures episode titled Elephant Issues, only one was controversial enough to get the episode banned from TV. See if you can pick which of these it was. Number 1. Why Dizzy Can't Read, a segment about how watching too much TV is bad and reading is better. Number 2. Clyde and Prejudice, a segment about how popularity isn't the most important thing. Number 3. One Beer, a segment in which 3 characters get drunk, steal a police car, drive it off a cliff, and die. If you said anything other than the one where cartoon characters violently die a realistic death, you probably won't ever have a career writing for children's television. In fairness, the episode did start with a warning that it was going to be addressing relevant issues, but maybe the dangers of alcohol abuse segment could have dipped its toe into areas like hangovers, job loss, or family stress before diving right into vehicular manslaughter. We would like to invite you to share your opinion with us. Do you agree with our list? Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on the notifications bell. Thank you for watching, and we will see you in the next video. Bye!